So Portland. So when you were back stateside, did you have the opportunity to kind of soak in and experience some of that amazing Portland cocktail scene? Was that in any way an influence for you?
Absolutely, yeah. One of our favorite tiki bars in Portland, or well, our favorite anywhere, is Hale Pele. And so yeah, there was an influence from that bar on us and our appreciation for tiki cocktails. And how about you?
Yeah, for sure. I think we really matured as cocktail people who appreciate cocktails in Portland. I think just working and outside of grad school, we moved to Portland and we were making money and we were, really starting to mature as people. And with the food and cocktail scene in Portland, it just really kind of shaped our perspectives of what we had, what we like and what we still like to this day. And so even really shaped our perspective of tiki with Hale Pele as well. And the Alibi and, Rum Club and some other tiki and tiki, adjacent bars in Portland. It was our first contact for tiki as we know it, and mostly cocktails as well. So it played a big role in, who we are and what we're looking for in this industry.
Yeah, I'm so glad that there was that touch point because, tiki is one of those types of drink cultures where you generally have some sort of pedigree behind you that is very traceable, right? There are like tiki joints, like many major cities in the US have them. And like the people who open those tend to subsequently also have their own, history with the style of tropical drinks that came from other establishments. And so there's this really interesting kind of cross-pollination. And I think being able to kind of open up the archives and see where people were influenced is really fascinating to me as we kind of unpack the meaning of, perhaps in your case, what it means to be English speaking tiki ambassadors. So I know we want to get to the story of the Kazan Room, but I want to press on Hale Pele a little bit more. What was their brand of tiki? If you had to sort of describe their brand of tiki and their approach at the time when you were frequenting that establishment, how would you describe it? And like, what are some of the influences that you have then perhaps transported over the Pacific to Japan from them?
To me, it was mostly the vibe of Hale Pele for me, which I know you can't really, quantify that, or, and the bar itself is not in charge of, the vibe. I guess it's a mixture of the people who visit the bar, the tiki community that's there. So I really felt that Hale Pele had a great tiki community where people who visited there, a lot of people were really into the culture of tiki, and maybe even some tiki snobs there. But, that's something you just can't really describe. It's just a feeling when you go there, a feeling of escaping and of enjoying cocktails around like-minded people. And that's what I enjoyed about Hale Pele. So.
Yeah, for me, I think Blair Reynolds and Martin Kate, they did a great job with Hale Pele. And, Martin Kate obviously wrote somewhat of the modern book of tiki and tiki bars. And so I think Hale Pele is one of great examples of that. But even back to what Kim was saying, the fact that the vibe is great and they, have seating only, there's no standing room. It definitely makes you feel like it's a bar and not just a restaurant, or it's not a club. It has very specific intentions on how it wants to, curate the experience for its guests by that alone, just having seats for everyone. It doesn't get too crazy or
it's doesn't get where you can relax.
Yes, exactly. Some of the things we took away from it, however, especially after frequenting it for a few years, was they have drink clubs like the Water Bearers Club, which is make your way through the menu And then they also have a rum club. I forget what that's called. Yeah, fire breathers or something, where you make your way through all their rum tastings. And so it's more or less their membership clubs. And the regulars that were there Sunday afternoon, so around 4 or 5 o'clock, is when people who became these members of different, either rum or drink clubs could actually go and get their discount. So come Sunday, 4 o'clock, you were there with the people who really appreciate rum, the people who really appreciate tiki and cocktails. And so that was our community. And that's what we really loved about Hale Pele, is that it pulled the best out of Portland. And you had some great people we met there. And it was a lot of fun. I don't know. It was our home, it's like our tiki home for us. So it'll always be our tiki home.